I'm Dylan.
We're going to talk to you about what we've done on Conclave the last few months. So when we started the project, this started as just a personal project for me, and the game just sort of existed in my head. So what we've been doing mostly the last few months is getting everyone up to speed on the Source engine. The engineers have been learning how to program in Source and C++. The designers have been, there's this vision in my head, and the designers need to get that vision too, and it's not always easy. But over the last few months, really in the first month, all the designers really did a great job, put a lot of hours in just meeting up to talk about the game, and really got a great idea of the game. So we're gonna have 5 characters by the end of this, by the end of the year, and we've been working heavily on designing the movesets of the first 3, which we've got the first one in, which we're gonna show you in just a bit, and we've been doing a lot of work on the first 3, which we're gonna focus the first semester and do a whole lot of revision on.
And so a big part of bringing that design vision from Andrew's head out into the rest of the team is the art. So we've got a great art team working at LCAD. They've been able to put out some really nice work for us so far. This is our first environment spread, so Conclave looking to be very wide, sweeping natural vistas. So getting ideas of sort of what we want the levels to look like. We haven't started designing levels yet, but when we do, we've got some great pieces. And in addition to that, the flavor of the characters, very important. So one of our goals for the midterm was to have character art for our first Red Mage finished. So as you can see here, we've got a lot of good work on the silhouettes, and on the right here, what he's going to look like in the game. So, in addition, we've had sort of, as this process has been going on, sort of focusing on trying to get the modeling started. So we've got some good face studies, which following this week actually, we're going to start getting the full body modeled so we can put something other than Stickman into the game. Paul, talking about engineering?
Hello? Okay. Hi, I'm Paul. I'm lead engineer for Conclave. And so, as you guys saw in our previous demos and stuff, we didn't start from nothing. We had some base code and stuff like that. And so the base code had on engineering side had a few dependencies, for instance, like between like weapons and projectiles and stuff like that. So over the last few weeks, engineering has been working to remove those dependencies to make sure that our code is as flexible as possible. For this midterm, we got our Red Mage implemented. And he alone has 23 spells. And so moving forward, we have at least 4 more characters to go with most likely just as many spells. And so, a big focus for us as engineers is making sure that we're able to work as efficiently as possible and keep workflow effective and productive, and by making things modular and easy to change over time. So hopefully, no matter what the designers throw at us, we'll be able to handle it and implement it to the game with great ease.
So what we're first going to show, we're going to jump in the game for you right here. Well, we're going to jump into the game for you, and Matt, one of our designers who's worked a whole lot on Red Mage, is going to go over what the basic idea of this character is, because he's changed since the start of the semester.
Okay, so while they're getting that up, our basic concept for Red Mage would be a easy-to-use character who's relatively simple to play, but he still has elements of him that take some skill to use. And he is going to be mostly focused on dealing damage, and one of his unique mechanics is that every time he hits an opponent with an attack, he gets a small buff that increases his damage by a little bit. And he has some special attacks that will use those buff stacks and consume them to do a much more powerful area of effect attack. So it's sort of managing that. Do you want to use it as a passive buff or use it to expend it for more burst damage? So basically the characters have, as you saw in that chart earlier, they work off a combo system. So while you're using moves, after you have a short time frame window where you can input another command, and doing that will create a combo and cause different attacks to occur. So our Red Mage has a bunch of different combos, so I can show you when it comes up. But, basically, each each of the starter buttons, we have 4, the left mouse button, the right mouse button, and then the left and right mouse buttons while you're holding control will start a different attack, and you can chain in different attacks while you're using it. So it looks like we're just about ready.
So close.
So close.
Source engine's a little old, a little creaky. There we go.
Okay, there we go. So one of the skills we have is our lightning ability. It's off the control left click key, which we've been referring to as 3. And one thing that's interesting about this ability is as you use it consecutively in a combo, it gets more and more focused. So you can see it starts off spread out and it becomes very focused after the 3rd cast. You can also use other abilities after it instead of keeping on mashing on the same key. And this, you can see the fire trail, and I believe you can also, yeah, he can use different abilities depending on which buttons you push. Some other skills you have is our fire grenade. We've been using like Havoc to create all these different abilities. This one is a bouncing projectile, as you can see, and yeah, so he's throwing in different ways. It's affected by like how it hits things, and you can bounce them off walls, and so it's just, yeah, pretty cool. There's also the AoE stance, which after he uses it, he enters into this mode, and pressing another button will activate the powerful AoE attack I was talking about. And he can use them at multiple ranges, so there's a closer one, and if he wants to use the further away one, it just appears further. And he can also use a very close range Nova that's much faster to activate and can be activated while running. It's more expensive, but it's sort of like this emergency get off of me skill. And yeah. Okay.
Alright, so instead of just showing a video, we're actually going to get 2 players playing simultaneously. It's going to take 1 moment to get that set up. So, what you're going to be seeing right now, what we've been focusing on is just getting these basic characters, the basic abilities for the characters, because this is a fighting game. It really comes down to the characters. When we're going to be battling right now, we're just at a basic level. There isn't much metagame. It's just 2 people spawning and fighting each other. The metagame aspects, when we start introducing up to 16 players and having these large maps with different objectives to go to start spreading people around, that's something we're going to be adding later. We're going to be seeing a little bit of that moving into December, but right now we're focusing just on the characters. And we're just about good to go here.
So as you can see, we have Dr. Spuds has joined the game. And and then he's in. We have Matt playing as Dr. Spuds on Andrew's account.
All right, so it's a little chaotic right now, but that's mostly due to the fact that we don't have many great particle effects to show off what the abilities are doing precisely. However, there is a method behind the madness. So right there, what Matt did was use an AoE ability against Paul. And AoE is really important, and for those unfamiliar, AoE is area of effect. Area of effect abilities cannot be blocked in Conclave because you have to block in a specific direction facing the attack, and AoEs do not have a direction. So they're very powerful in a 2-player duel. Here they're getting a little desperate because they haven't built up any bonus damage stacks to use with their AoEs. So you saw their AoEs they're using right next to each other not doing too much damage, but it paid off for Paul there. Now Paul's pretty low on health, you can see 5 health up there at the top left. Let's see what he's going to do with that. getting pretty close to each other. It's getting hard to hit. What are they going to do? What? I don't actually know what happened there. And the balancing is gonna iron out the kinks a little bit. So maybe the fact that Matt is spamming one ability in particular to kill Paul over and over, we'll be able to fix that before demo day. But you can start to see some of the places that need polish. Like for instance, certain abilities, such as that one, are much easier to hit people with than others. You can see they're shooting their basic small projectiles in the air. It's really hard to hit people. And in a chaotic multiplayer environment, that's really not something that's going to fly for a final release. So that's something we've been thinking about a lot, adjusting the parameters, things like how fast the players move, how quickly they get close to each other, because that's another thing. We're really hugging each other there in these one-on-one battles, and it's getting a little hard to control. But these are the kind of balance issues that we're going to need to look at and revise over the course of the next few months. I think one more kill here, we'll wrap it up. All right, so let's bring it back to the desktop there, and Eric, one of our engineers, is going to talk a little bit about how we're helping out the designers doing these balance revisions.
We're not. Yeah. Yeah, scoot. No. Yeah. Get rid of that. Where is the folder?
There's a game.
Okay.
So while Eric gets this folder up real quick, what Eric has worked on a lot this semester is our scripting system, which existed at the start of the semester but has been expanded significantly. With, like we mentioned, already 23 abilities, which might even grow for just the first out of 5 characters. It's a whole lot of data to manage. So there needs to be a simple way for the designers to get in there and make these changes. He's not on his computer right now, but trust me, it's easy when you know what the file structure is, because he's on Zach's computer here.
There we go. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
All right.
So the scripts allow us to tweak a lot of stuff like player ability damage. Like if we notice that we want like Arcane Bolt to do a little bit more damage, we can just go up in here and make it an instant kill. Like we can do that if we decide that the player needs to have twice as much health. We can player starts at P. So player Red Mage is here, and we can give him, let's give him like 200 health. Oh, it's 200 mana.
Even better.
Yeah, he's just gonna get a ton of mana. And let's say we want to change the model on one of the abilities, like the basic Arcane Bolt. Let's say we want to make that something different, like let's go to the folder.
Why don't you try Firebolt Small?
Firebolt Small. All right. Firebolt _ small. So that way we can inject stuff into the game without ever having to rebuild. So you just, hit play again, the game loads up, knock on wood, jinx it. But yeah, we did a lot of work as far as separating out weapons, the projectiles they launch, the players who hold the weapons, so that the design's more modular and the designers can do their balancing on the fly. So, create a new server. Yeah, I'm just going to spawn a bot. Yeah, you can hold it. Sure.
So moving forward, getting this first character implemented was kind of a big challenge that we had to overcome. Now that experience is under our belts, we want to have 2 more characters finished balanced and polished by the end of the semester. So I think we're well positioned to do that because we've got Red Mage working, and we've got the abilities, the designs for the next 2 characters are nearing their final stages. So get those wrapped up, and we should be well able to get those next 2 characters in the game.
Yeah, so now you see the models changed for the primary attack. I don't know if you remember the other one, but you can also see that his mana is much higher than it used to be. And now he can beat up the bots. Oh yeah, now it does instant kill because I made its damage so high.
Balance play.
Boom. Boom. So fun.
All right, and that's all we got for you today. If you have any questions, feel free.